If you have a service or you have a software, notice how they're very similar, onboarding is the first real touch point with the customer. And customers make their first impression of your business from the 24 to 48 hours post-purchase, meaning everything that happens until then frames the entire rest of their experience with you. And so nailing that next 24 or 48 hours will increase how many people take your upsells, how long they stay. So literally, like, adding onboarding can add 2-3 months to your LTV if you have any kind of recurring service. And so right now, if you're not doing it or just sending like an email with some lists on it, you're missing a massive revenue opportunity. So the first thing we did to fix this onboarding process was we ran a pilot. So to be clear, we didn't say, hey, let's break the entire business yet again. So we took 15% of new customers and put them through a different onboarding process to test whether this new onboarding process yielded better results than the current one. So what we did was we went from one to many to one-on-one. Now, obviously, part of the reason that we rolled this out slowly was because we didn't have the bandwidth to take on 25 new customers every hour, which is what we were doing here. We had one person doing 6 or 8 calls with 25 customers each every single day. And so to scale that team, it would have taken a lot of time, and we definitely weren't going to risk it until we'd proven it out. So that's the first thing we did. The second thing we did in the pilot is we actually followed the closer framework, which is a sales framework. You're like, wait, how does that apply to onboarding? Well, guess what? Once someone makes a purchase, the last R of closer is reinforce the decision. And so that actually applies to onboarding. And so when you reinforce the decision, what we do is restate the C, L, and O again. So we say, hey, clarify why they're there, label them with a problem, and then overview their past experience, and then you're selling them again on the vacation, on what they're going to experience as a result of their past decision of buying. Now, from a value perspective, first off, establishing the goal and reminding them of the goal that they had is massive. And so I want to look at you in the camera right now. When we had Alan, our software company, and we simply changed the language that we onboarded people with. So we actually had a similar onboarding process, but we just said, hey, I know you said you wanted to make $10,000 a month extra with your agency or whatever, but why do you want that? Now they say, oh, well, I want to make this impact, or I want to retire my wife, or I want to whatever the thing is. When we related them taking the next steps to the goal that they had stated, it doubled or tripled. I can't remember the number, it was a lot. How many more people followed through? Because we said, we want to help you with that, John. We want to help you retire your wife, and these next 3 things are going to help you do that. And then they were like, oh, that's the reason I signed up, and I am going to follow through. From the low value version of this, where it was like, let me just listen to everybody resetting their passwords, we could give someone a one-on-one concierge experience of walking them through setting up their password correctly, because it's a very low, technically proficient audience that we're dealing with. So we would get them a quick win. So if this is you for your business, you want the quick win, which was getting their login set up properly and showing them around the software. Now, here's the interesting part. If for whatever reason something came up during the onboarding call, we would immediately connect them with support so we could get it handled on that call. And so that way, at the end of every call for onboarding, the people were live, they were set up, they were logged in, and they understood the basics of how to use the software to get the goal that they signed up for. Part of you is like, wait, so you did the one-to-one, you added the CLOS in the front of this, you got a quick win for them. Okay, but what about the sales? Like, this is cute, Alex, but what about the money? I know, I'm just a bleeding heart and don't want to make money. No, I'm here to make money. I'm an investor, I own this company, I want this to go big, right? So what we did, and this is the interesting part, is that we found that when we had this one-on-one experience that restated the goals and all this stuff, guess what happened? We went from 20% of people ascending from the old process to 48% of people taking the ascension offer. So this is one of the things that has taken me a very long time to learn, which is when you're persuading, a big part of the value equation, and if you don't know what the value equation, 4 variables, dream outcome, perceived likelihood of achievement, time delay, effort and sacrifice. How dialed and how tight your business is before you ask for money is a huge boost to the perceived likelihood of achievement. And so if everything that I've said to you up to this point, I've over-delivered on, and I've delivered on time, and it made an exceptional experience for you, and I've given you the quick wins, I reminded you why you were here, you've got somebody one-on-one who's got your full attention, then when I make the next offer, you feel like it's very likely that I'm going to continue to do business the same way I already have. And so the best way to get someone to expect that they're going to get value in the future is to provide value today. So the TLDR is, we didn't need to be nearly as sales heavy because the quality of the service was so much higher that they said, yeah, if this is a taste of what I'm going to get later, I want way more of that. And let me give you a pro tip right now. If you're not sure what to upsell on the back of anything, there are 2 upsells that work in almost any business that I buy and I've seen across the zillions that I look at. More of that thing you just bought or more help with that thing you just bought. So people bought a thing, and if you're like, well, I don't want to upsell them immediately, well, they bought it, so they probably want more of it or they want more help with that thing they just bought. And so you can get huge uptakes on upsells immediately after someone makes the first purchase. Let me give you a little tip. So most small business owners are afraid of asking for too much, right? They're like, hey, this person just bought from me. I don't want to seem pushy. I don't want to make more offers. But if you believe in what you sell and someone has a problem, then it's my belief that you have an ethical duty to present them the offer. You don't have to hard close them, but you should let them know that you've made this offer or this solution available to them. Because buying, the way most people think about it, is that people buy on these regular intervals. But that's actually not the case at all. What happens is someone has a problem, and then in a very short period of time, they make all their purchases, and then they make almost none. So think about it this way. If I wanted to start running a marathon, what would I do? I'd sign up for a marathon, and then I'd be like, oh shoot, I need marathon shoes. So then I go to the shoe store and buy marathon shoes. And I'd be like, oh, you know what? I don't have any running shorts. I only have the shorts that are basketball shorts. So I need to get some running shorts. So I buy running shorts. Then I'd be like, oh, I gotta go one of those tank tops. Okay, oh, you know what? I have an iPod, but I don't have an arm sleeve for it, so it's gonna fall out. Oh, are there headphones that are better for running so it doesn't fall out of my head? Now, the small business owner, most people watching this, say, wait, I only sell shoes. I don't want to offer them shorts and a tank top and headphones. But guess what Susie's going to do? She's going to go take all of this after you made the hard sale of getting her to sign up for a marathon, and she's going to go to the guy down the street because he's a real business owner, and he's like, hey, she's in a buying window. She's in a hyper buying frenzy, and we need to capitalize on it in that moment. Now, how likely is it after she's bought all that stuff, now Adam, the average business owner, he's like, hey, now that you've been running for 30 days, do you want an iPod case? And she's like, well, dude, I've been running for 30 days. I already got it from above average Andrew down the street. He already sold me all the stuff I need. Thanks. And guess where she's going to go from here on out? The guy who sold her the most stuff. Most businesses have some sort of shift that happens in someone's identity when they make a purchase. They say, I'm an author now. I'm an investor now. I'm a runner now. I'm a marketer now. I'm a whatever. Insert the thing that you help someone be. I'm healthy now. I'm a fitness person now. You have these transitions where someone steps into a new identity, and then there's all these other behaviors and other products that go along with that identity. And so we want to explain that and enable our customers to buy those things from us the moment they make that decision, because it actually is more congruent with what you set in the expectations. If I said, hey, I'm gonna help you become a marathon runner, and then I only have shoes to sell them, then I probably didn't really believe that much in the fact that they were really becoming a marathon runner. So they now believe you, you've sold them on this dream, this new identity that they could get into, back it up. So we've already made some massive improvements to this onboarding process. But what's the last thing we did? Well, before this, there was no next steps. We were like, sayonara, hope you buy again in the future, and if not, you're dead to us. Not really, I say that to exaggerate. But there's 3 things we did to improve this last part. So the first thing we did was we gave them a summary of the experience. And we let them know in the beginning, hey, don't worry, you don't have to take notes. We're taking notes for you, and we're gonna send them to you at the end of this call. That way you can be fully present and paying attention, and that way you can think about the questions that you wanna ask while I'm here, rather than being worried of like, oh, I didn't get that. So number 1, puts them at ease. 2, they're gonna get all the best notes because we're gonna take notes for them. The second thing is we gave them tutorials. And so say, hey, you are interested in these components of our software, because not all customers want the same things from your service or your product. You said, okay, you're especially interested in these 3 items. Cool, so what I'm gonna do on top of walking you through it right now is I'm actually gonna give you a link to these 3 tutorials in those notes that I send you. That way you can refer back to them without me necessarily having to click through it again, so that if you get stuck, you can just follow along. But it's specific to the things that that person said, clarify whether they're labeled them with a problem, in the beginning of the call that was aligned with their goal. The third thing we did was, okay, we've given you the notes, we're giving you the how-tos, And if for whatever reason you have a problem, we'll give you a point of contact. So you've got a POC, you've got a point of contact that this person that I'm going to introduce you to live on the call. So you make FaceTime, you understand who it is, and now from this point going forward, this is called a baton pass. And so if you think about this from a business, no one should ever fall into no man's land. So this is what we like to call BAM fam. And I got this from Sharon Servato, who's a good friend of mine, which is BAM fam is book a meeting from a meeting. BAM fam is a way of life. No customer should ever not be BAM fam. They should always know when the next time they're going to talk to you is. Never get off a call being like, yeah, and then we'll coordinate the next thing. You're both there, pull up your calendars, pick the time, get it done. Now, with BAM fam, that means that the sales guy hands the baton over to the onboarding person. They know when they're going to be talking to them. Then the onboarding person's baton passes to the support person or the account rep who's going to be managing that account on the ongoing basis. And so at all times, notice 3 different people touched the account, but at no point did they have multiple points of contact. So we had multiple people who touched them, but in the beginning it's sales rep John, and then next one it's onboarding Ollie, and then it's account rep Alex, right? And so at every point that person knows who they're going to talk to until that person hands the baton to the next person.